page 22. I'm sorry, page 109, line 25 to page 111, line 4. And the court, number 22, redaction request number 22. I don't know if the court's...
I mean, Freddie,
I don't know to have the chart if I could.
Freddie said, do a compilation on all her L's. We finally get the mistrial brewing before our eyes. I mean, just yesterday, we could have made a 2-hour compilation video of Miss Love taking L's. Goodness.
Find the chart, then I would have my notes. But anyway,
our chart says that it's in
Miller Mine.
I don't know what.
Show me what the chart looks like.
It was.
Give it to
Just. They tried to revisit this yesterday.
No, it didn't.
Show me what the chart looks like. Just turn it around and let me see it.
Volume should be superb.
I mean, I think it was supposed to be pages of the Twitter that she wanted.
I received a your scan that had nothing but photographs, Instagram photographs.
See if I can turn the
That was it.
Okay, I think it was Twitter, not Instagram, but.
Oh.
Okay, all right. Well, we didn't get it. The court didn't get it. So can you resend to Ms. Persifield? And Mr. Sharp didn't get it. I mean, I don't know what happened sometime in the Ethernet between send and receive, but.
Oh man, Donkey said all Love's emails go to spam. Dang.
Everybody else get it?
Hey, it's a new day. We're giving Miss Love a fresh start. All right, y'all let her live.
Mr. Harvey was. He's not even included.
Okay. I sent it from
That's wild. So all of our emails are going to spam. They're going to the trash folder because they're garbage. Good morning, everyone.
I didn't send it to the court. I sent it to Ms. Persifield.
Yeah, no, I know, but she said she didn't get it.
I just didn't.
More.
I'm trying to be good this morning, Amy. Dang, I'm getting to threaten the timeout 10 minutes in. This is not a good sign. All right, let's skip ahead. Y'all know Fulton County, we on that BS. October 15th, 14 days away, you can start voting. If you're in Fulton County, go ahead and get it over with.
All right, are there any other matters we need to address before we have our next witness and jury this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just want to keep the court apprised. I was in contact with Mr. Atkins last night, and we compared lists. We have a slight discrepancy on what's in or what's out based on the court's ruling about the transcript.
Okay.
We may have a discrepancy. Mr. Atkins is reviewing what I sent to him, and we'll report back. But I assume the state is not planning on playing it immediately. Is that?
It's pretty early. So
Pretty immediately. Sounds like. So maybe we need to get that sorted.
Shadow Fox said, pressing send is really that hard? Apparently, if you're a district attorney in Fulton County, your job is extremely difficult. Max is standing up. You know what that means. Listen, this is never a good sign. Max is ready to throw down. So I don't know what's going to happen today, but I guarantee you this. If Max gets up there, it's on site. Get ready. I'm calling it now, so y'all remember this. All right, let's go ahead and skip ahead then, because we are waiting patiently, it looks like. How are y'all feeling this morning, by the way?
Excuse me, during this
excuse me, during this time where folks are looking, I just want to raise the issue of the request to not video Detective Gaither. I realize that in the past, there was a request for the media to not video Gaither, Detective Gaither, but, and I didn't realize this before, I'm sure I objected to it before, but I don't understand the legitimate security concern regarding, I mean, maybe they can articulate one, a legitimate security concern regarding Detective Gaither, because she's all over media. I mean, she's a star of First 48. She gets an 8.4 rating, actually, so it's apparently a pretty good show that she's on. But I don't understand why she can be on commercial television and the AJC and everywhere else and not be televised here.
I'll ask the state.
Your Honor, I think that, I know that this was dealt with previously. She is no longer in law enforcement. She's retired, and she, in her capacity at her current position, is not working as law enforcement, but is in a position that we believe warrants the protocol that was placed in place last time that she testified.
Can you share with me what that position is?
Sure, if the court will allow me to do it at the bench with whoever with defense wants to come
Okay,
up, so
is
that I'm
she on shows like First
No,
48?
She does not.
Has she been on shows like First 48 identified as by her name?
I have not seen her on First 48. I cannot speak to what Mr. Weinstein said. I have never seen her on First 48. But if he says he saw her, I don't think and I don't believe that on First 48.
Is Ms. Hilton okay?
I cannot speak to what Mr. Weinstein.
By her name?
I have not seen her on First 48. I cannot speak to what Mr. Weinstein said. I have never not seen her on
Like First 48
Hold on a second. What is going on with Miss Hilton? I'm gonna have to let this go. But what's she got
She
going
does
on? Watch
not.
this.
Has she been on shows like First 48 identified as by her name?
I have not seen her on First 48. I cannot speak to what Mr. Weinstein said. I have never seen her on First 48. But if he says he saw
going on
her,
with Hilton?
I don't think and I don't believe
pray for
that there is a reason, there's any reason to change what.
Well, we could just ask her.
And Your Honor, we could, but she's not. If she was or is on some episodes of First 48 that are playing now, she was in law enforcement. She had to have been during that time. I know.
Right. The point is, if her identity is out there anyway, readily available for anybody who wants to see it, identified as a law enforcement officer, then
May I approach?
Yes.
Well, you know what
Have
time
you
it is.
ever had a dream that
Also, not to mention, shout out to Joseph Papp. If you go on to Facebook and you search Detective Gaither, you can see this post here. He said, here's a Facebook post from 2015 identifying Detective Dennis and Gaither as investigators of the year on the Atlanta Police Department Facebook page. City of Atlanta Police Department. Big congratulations goes to investigators Tyrone Dennis and Lakia Gaither. They are in the Atlanta Police Department's Investigators of the Year. What? So what are we arguing here? I don't know. Somebody said something about Hilton being pregnant. Maybe that's what was going on there, but she looked extremely uncomfortable. Hopefully she's okay. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, we got some BS we got to skip through. I don't know why they're arguing about someone who is a public figure at this point being on the stand, but whatever. Or being videoed, I should say.
Remains in place.
Mr. Sharp
about
Do we-
whatever.
Yeah, I know.
So they might argue, we're trying to resolve it short of having it bring it to.
The good news is out of all of the issues, there's only 3 that we disagree on.
Okay.
And we're trying to figure that out.
Okay, that's fine. All right, well, I guess we can't really have the witness in to testify until those couple of things get figured out. So I am going to recess because I need to check on something.
About some things.
Okay.
So, what did he say about that? Mr. Shart and the state disagree on number 14, page 81, line 22 to 82, line 2. The portion that the court kept out was, yeah, I told him Shannon hot-headed. The line after that, we have that it is included and available for impeachment purposes. They all want names for themselves. They want names for themselves. And when I asked the witness on the stand, I was looking to go back to see all that I asked him, but I don't have that transcript in front of me. But he said, when I asked him, it's everything that he said about the 3 people who are currently on trial. Or why is it that everything you say about them, you can remember they didn't say, or you told a lie, but you can't remember anything else. That would allow what he is saying here to be an inconsistent statement about them wanting names for themselves. That is the one area that there is disagreement on. There were 2, so the other one is...
Your Honor,
Hang
can I
on,
respond to
let's
that
do
one?
one at a time.
The-
And so the state had that it could be used for impeachment.
Yes.
The state keeps taking the stance that as long as something was, and I'm not conceding that it was a prior inconsistent statement because I don't recall them asking that, but they seem to be taking the stance that as long as something's a prior inconsistent statement, it's automatically admissible. And this is speculation. It's speculating about my client's intent in doing something that he wasn't even there for. So that was the foundation, is did my client say, hey, I did this and this is why? And that foundation was never laid. It's not a matter of prior inconsistent statement.
Right, yeah. And what you had was that it was out unless a foundation was laid.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Your Honor, that's, I'd ask that the court check the court's notes because there was
So
not
I can't find my notes, unfortunately.
No, come on,
I don't
Judge Whitaker,
have
now.
any idea where they went to.
because our notes are specifically that it can be used for impeachment purposes. And the argument that his client wasn't there is belied by the witness's statement to the police that he was, which the court is requiring that we keep out because the court ruled that it has to be kept out. I don't know why he's saying his client wasn't there.
I didn't say my client wasn't there.
It's just what he just said.
I said that.
No, that's not what he said.
He just said my client wasn't there. He
I
literally
said
just
Mr.
said
Zachary
my
was
client
there.
wasn't there.
Okay, but that's not why it's being kept out.
I'm aware. You mean,
I mean, this,
Here we go.
the ruling
was
would
that-
have been, I mean, it's the same thing as the similar one that we talked about yesterday. I would have said, lay a foundation that he actually knew that and it wasn't just his speculation.
Your Honor,
You
this
know
is
what time it
someone who, during the
want-
course of this
you
entire
could do so-
interview with
you-
the
Have you ever had a
police,
dream
and
that-
certainly around this area,
you had, you do
talked
you
about
would-
his
you want-
relationship
you-
with and
you could
how
do so-
much
you-
time he
you
spent
do-
with this defendant. I believe that as
Oh boy.
a member of YSL and as a person that we see throughout each of their social media pages, associating themselves with one another, not just Mr. Stillwell's, but Mr. Zachary's, that the jury should be allowed to hear what Mr. Zachary's observations were. If he observes that they are acting in a way, and he hears them on some occasions say, let's go get that money.
All right,
to-
here's the thing, is that you didn't establish that
We
this
all
was
argue
based
style.
on his personal observation, or that he heard them say things like this, or that he had such a confidential, close relationship with Mr. Stillwell that they shared all of this kind of thing. You just didn't establish it.
Your Honor, that is because the witness would not acknowledge it. But the fact that he does, having listened to his interview multiple times, he establishes it in the interview. And that is the reason that we are saying the jury should be allowed to hear all of what he said so that they can determine which version of the truth they believe, the one where he's sitting in front of the defendants saying, now everything I said about them is a lie, or the version where he gives intricate details about his interactions with the defendant and the way.
So basically, you mean what every single witness you've called to the stand has done. That's the entire way this case has been built. Jeez.
Intricate details about his interactions with the defendant and the way or what he observed during those interactions. There are moments where he said Woody was curled up on the couch. He was scared to go.
Okay, but we're not
that's just
talking
an
about
example.
his relationship with Woody right now.
I'm giving an example of his observations, the type of details that he gave in the interview. And so as it relates
We all
to
are confused.
defendant Stillwell, he's telling the police how many when he interacts with them, what happens during the interaction. He's telling them when they started associating, they ask questions like,
Ms. Lev, I understand all of that. If it's just based on what's all in the interview, it seemed to me at the time, and nothing was established to convince me that this was anything more than his theorizing about what it was. And the rules of evidence are there for a reason. It's not that I want this in or I want this out.
So-
It's that it has not been established that he has a basis to say this beyond his own musings about it. And therefore, the ruling stands. What's the next one?
so,
What's the next one?
okay, so I'm sorry.
Oh man, y'all said that's L number 2 and 3.
The,
We gotta get an L
the first
counter
one
going
was
for
that
Miss
it
Love.
was,
Jesus.
so it wasn't for impeachment purposes. It was something different. Okay. So the second one was,
Oh man. Jeez. Y'all pray for Miss Love, man. Oh man. I know you aren't gonna do it, but hey, y'all, come on now. We just want a good game. She's getting
so the second one
demolished right
was
now.
the call that the court addressed
2016 Warriors.
either
type.
later last week or earlier last week regarding, it was in August that the court addressed the call about them putting Shannon, Pokey, Woody, and Mr. Zachary when they were at Big Boo's grandmother's house. And Boo
Shout
got
out
a
to
call
Pokey and
from
Big Boo.
Mushi, and $10,000 was put on the head of anybody who set out to harm Lucci. Mr. Zachary said that in his interview that Woody came in, it was stated there's $10,000 on the head.
Okay, is there a transcript reference?
Line, page 22, I'm sorry, page 109, line 25 to page 111, line 4. And the court, number 22, redaction request number 22. I don't know if the court's,
I mean,
I
Freddie,
don't
we
know
could
if I
make.
have the chart, if I could.
Freddie said, do a compilation on all her L's. We finally get the mistrial brewing before our eyes. I mean, just yesterday, we could have made a 2-hour compilation video of Miss Love taking L's. Goodness.
find the chart, then I would have my notes. But anyway, I
Well, our
recall-
chart says that it's in.
Miller Mine.
I don't know what,
That's
show me what the chart looks like.
It was,
give it to us.
Just
they tried to revisit this
No, we
yesterday.
didn't.
show me what the chart looks like.
Don't
Just
show
turn
me
it
the chart.
around and let me see it.
So, Mr. Atkins is coming up to the.
Oh, is this something y'all gave me before, or this is just your own chart of my?
We used it, and didn't we we gave you a copy of it, and that's how we were referencing it in the arguments.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
Mr. Shard's redaction chart that he sent to the court and the state, that is the same list that when we went through the redactions in court, those 2 days or 2 days and a half.
Wasn't that?
And it was labeled from the 2015 interview 1 through, I believe Mr. Shard's last redaction was 43.
Walter, that's funny.
I do have that.
And for reference, this is Mr. Shard's redaction request number 22.
And I think that Mr. Atkins went over all of this last week. Do we not?
Okay, and what I wrote next to 22 was only to Kenneth Copeland or Zachary, not Stillwell.
And that is, my understanding is that Mr. Shard is arguing that the call itself, the fact that there was that call and he's arguing that all of that came out, and we have that it is not out.
Yeah.
Well, the trick is, Your Honor, in this,
Can you try to use your mic?
in this transcript, in this passage, there are several references to we, that in the context, it's clear that Copeland is spilling the beans not only on himself, but on Shannon. So, for instance, I don't know if Your Honor has the transcript.
I do.
Okay, so for instance, 110, line 20. No, they said they did it. 111, line, where is it? There's a, 111, line 4. He like,
on, Max.
man, we just shot up Lucci Mama's house. So there's things that, in that spilling the beans by Copeland, that in the context of this interview, as it's played to the jury, is going to implicate Shannon. I understand. Now, I don't agree that this proves anything, but I understand the evidentiary rulings that Mr. Zachary at one time claimed he was in this room and he saw Shannon and Kenneth Copeland and they left and then they came back, and I understand a phone call came in. But what Kenneth Copeland said while they were in that room is hearsay that does not fit into an exception, and it implicates my client. So that's, of course, I would love if it just all came out. It would be cleaner, and also I'd prefer it. But if we definitely need to, as was your ruling from the beginning, we need to clean up what Woody said insofar as it implicates my client.
Well, do you have a proposal for how to do that?
Take out what Woody said.
Short of that? I mean, is there something in here that it's, there's a Stillwell reference that can be cleaned up? What was the number for that first one y'all were talking about?
Your Honor, the first one was number 14. And the state does have a proposal when the court's ready.
And of course, the jury has been waiting this whole time, y'all. They should have got out when they had the chance. Jury has been sitting back there waiting for them to figure this issue out. Skip ahead.
So, Your Honor,
All right, what's your proposal?
so, Your Honor, there was 3 requested redactions that all pertain to the shooting of Mr. Bennett's mother's home. And so number 21, Mr. Shard's request number 21, the court, as the court just stated, permitted the state to address as long as it didn't pertain to defendant Stillwell. And so Zachary has a line when he's saying who committed this act, where he says Woody, Shannon, and Little Pokey. So the state is redacting where he says Shannon, so that later on when he references they or we, the jury will not hear that he definitively states Shannon.
Okay,
Well-
that ought to solve it.
Well, that doesn't solve, the problem is we'd have to redact, and I don't think the state's going to agree to this, but we'd have to redact Shannon from the whole story, because it's not just that Woody at one point
Right,
says,
Sean.
We did it, essentially, yeah.
it's not so much that Quindarius Zachary says, I mean, clearly I want that out, but also in Quindarius Zachary's telling of this story, Shannon is with Woody in the beginning, which he saw with his own eyes. I understand why that would come in, but what I'm saying is the references to Shannon are not limited to the conclusory statement.
Well, I mean, that's just going to be what it is.
Yeah, that's a little
Okay,
bit
so
of
we're
a
taking
reach
out the
there, Max.
conclusory thing, but
Well, I mean, the specific, naming of the people, because I had said that could only come in if it was established that Stillwell was there when Mr. Copeland said we did it, and that wasn't established.
So the court, with respect to Shannon, that is the ruling that we.
Right, so if you redact that word, then
Yes.
when later on, it doesn't sound like it's Shannon, it sounds like it's the 2 of them that he's already mentioned, so that fixes that.
But he can say, and we can get in the fact that Shannon, Woody told Shannon and Pokey, let's ride.
Yes.
Okay.
see, and that's my problem, Your Honor. I think that they inescapably refers to Shannon in the mind of the jurors, even if we take out the one conclusory line.
Well, I mean, that may be what you think, but that's the way we're going to handle it.
Okay,
Yeah, I
I
think that's a little bit of a reach by Max. Also, if y'all are wondering what spill the beans means, it's a casual way of saying that someone has revealed a secret or shared information they weren't supposed to. It's like accidentally telling others something that was meant to be kept private.
understand. And just for the record, Your Honor, it is the lines that I'm concerned about on the transcript are 111, line 4, where it says, he like man, we just shot up Lucci's mama's house, and page 10, line 20, where it says, no, they said they did it.
Okay, well, I don't agree that it still sounds like Shannon when
Okay, I
only certain people were named and he's not one of them.
I understand the court's ruling.
Okay, what's the next one?
I think there's the only 2, but I just.
Max
Oh, I
took
thought
a
y'all
L
said there were
too.
3.
He's shaking his head.
Okay.
So
All right.
I just need to make sure, I would like to make sure with the witness that those 2 areas are clearly understood. Or we bring her out here and something's said.
All right, and actually, for the number 14 that we were discussing before, my notes were that y'all had come to agreement about that.
Number 14.
The one the very first one that we took up.
We agreed on hot-headed. They all want names for themselves is the portion that we have noted the court allowed us to use for impeachment purposes. Yesterday, I asked the court to allow us to include the hot-headed the court denied the request. So the only thing that, and I said that that was something we previously agreed on, the hot-headed, and the court denied that request, but the rest of it, the court said that it could be used for impeachment.
We're gonna get Gaither up here. Or
Okay,
what?
so
I think
my
that's what we
note
all
on
wanna
that,
know.
now that I have the notes, is that y'all had agreed, that I didn't make a ruling, that y'all had agreed that the character about Shannon was out except to show moving up because wanted to make names. So if y'all are no longer in agreement, then my ruling would be a foundation was not established. So I think we're ready for the witness and the jury.
I want to be sure.
Television said, "Who's the witness today?" It should be Gaither. We'll see. We may get Gaither up there. We may not. We'll have to wait and see. 'Cause they're still waiting on the jury.
Judge, may I speak with, since it is my witness, I just want to make certain that all of the court's rulings are understood and that I articulate them to her so that we don't get into, because I will be asking questions to avoid some of this. And I want to make certain that we don't get into any.
Okay, let's, if you can do that fairly quickly, because we've had the jury waiting for 40 minutes
Yeah.
already.
Shocker. All right, let's wait.
My man just stepped out there.
Let's move forward to when we get the jury in here. Looks like Max has something to say. Thug rocking
They
the
reached
sweater.
out to me.
Okay. He interviewed Sergeant Gaither, would you please tell the jury whether during your investigation of events that happened in 2015 as they related to If Gang and YSL, you had an occasion to interview Quindarius Zachary on August the 5th, 2015?
Yes.
All right. And at the time that you interviewed him, did you call him to be interviewed, or did he or someone on his behalf reach out to you?
Yeah, there were a couple people on his behalf that reached out to me,
Okay.
stating that he wanted to talk to me.
Okay. And I'm going to.
Yeah.
Wow, so they're really not going to show Detective Gaither? Why?
Microphone.
One that might work a little bit better.
That's crazy.
Okay. And had you left your number with family members of his, as you have in other cases, if they wanted to reach out with you?
Yes.
And is that the way that family member contacted you?
Yes.
All right. Was Quindarius Zachary brought over to the Atlanta Police Department from the Fulton County Jail?
Yes.
All right. Now, is it the custom that when a person comes in to see you, you make any observations about whether or not they're in any condition to talk? And by that I mean if someone's sloppy drunk or if they're obviously under the influence or...
Yes.
And if they are in no condition, by your estimation, to talk, do you continue to talk with them anyway, or do you send them back, or?
No, I don't talk to anyone that's under the influence or under distress or anything. We'll just revisit it at another time.
Okay.
Okay.
And when you spoke to Quindarius Zachary on August the 5th of 2015, did he appear to be in any physical distress from withdrawals or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Did you see any sign that he was under the influence or in pain or anything like that, that would have prohibited him from clearly understanding questions that were asked?
No.
Okay. At any time, did you force him to sit down and talk to you?
No, his people were calling me nonstop for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I just kind of took my time and let them sit there a minute and picked them up when I was ready.
Okay. And at any time outside of that interview room, did you convey threats? Did you tell anybody, if he doesn't speak to me, something bad is going to happen?
No, ma'am.
All right. Did you make any promises to him outside of that interview room through other people?
No.
Okay. And inside the interview room, did you tell him, let me back up. Are you allowed to tell people, if you do this, I will get your charges thrown out?
I'm not allowed to do that.
And did you tell Quindarius Zachary that?
That
No.
wasn't the question.
Now, to be clear, during the course of his conversation with you on August 5th, 2015, at some point did he broach the subject of whether or not you all were going to be able to help him out with any of his charges?
He did.
Right. And did you tell him at that time that you were going to get him thrown out?
No, I did not.
All right. Your Honor, can we get access to the Zoom?
Unfortunately, I don't have access to the Zoom right now either, and I had just typed my team to let me in.
All right.
Maybe if somebody's listening up in my chambers, they could let Ms. Love and the court in, please. Normally, Ms. Percefield does that, but she had to step out and handle another matter. So
While they're doing that, I'll continue with the questions. When you spoke to Quindarius Zachary in August, had you already gotten, you remember when you talked to the jury last time about the Dexter Montgomery shooting?
Yes.
All right. And do you remember speaking to them about the surveillance footage that you were able to look at from that shooting?
Yes.
All right. Now, during your interview with Mr. Zachary, did you show him surveillance footage from the Dexter Montgomery shooting?
I showed him still shots, not actual footage.
Okay. And when you say still shots, would you explain what you mean?
Basically screen grabs or images of people that were depicted in the actual video. We just took a picture of that particular person and printed it out onto paper.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I believe has already been admitted as states 308 Yankee. And I'm going to ask you